Yo. Let's see. Hold on. All right. So if everybody can hear me, we're going to talk about key PlayStation 5 information being released. A lot of information pouring, man. So big ups to the people that help provide that data. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something different. All right. So let's start talking about it. What's up, peoples? It's your boy MM2K back again with another one. All right. Do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please. Paul G, what's going on? Devin got the box. Yo, let's do this, man. We know the deal. Let me know if I sound good on the audios, if the music is too loud, if I need to turn anything down. Big time PlayStation news is here. Right? Again, I repeat, big time PlayStation news is here. So, of course, we know that Sony decided to release a lot of PlayStation information. What I'm going to do is I am going to talk about this information that was released, because this is, and I'm going to do something different because I have not partaken upon this information seriously, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna be reacting to this. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be reacting to this live on air. I just apologize if I'm stumbling here because my stupid computer start cutting up. Hold on, what is going on here? All right. My computer is going ham on me live on air. This is ridiculous. I just opened it up shit that I didn't even try to open up. All right, let's see here. Okay, there's the PlayStation blog. I want to get that up. And then there's the actual, there is a Wire.com article that we're going to talk about too. You know what I mean? But big ups to everybody. I had a Ghost Recon, just for full disclosure, so just in case nobody think I'm trying to do some funny duddy business. For full disclosure, I had a Ghost Recon Wildlands review up, you know, your favorite game, right? And this news broke. So I temporarily took that down only because that review hits a lot of key points, as Ghost Recon is a big part of the discussion, but I didn't want that to get lost in all this because we're going to be talking about this primarily through much of the day. So it's not like I'm trying to do something funny, but I just, for full transparency, I'm gonna release that later because Ghost Recon Breakpoint is bringing up big discussions about the state of gaming and all this other stuff, and I think it's important. So we're gonna talk about that. Matter of fact, when I bring back the NRO podcast on Twitch, that might be my focal point. I think that's a good thing to discuss. All right, so let's do this, y'all. Let's go here, man. So big ups to the homeboy Neville on on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? He helped us understand, or helped us realize, that there is an official PlayStation 5 release information out there. Big ups to the chat. He said, I needed some oatmeal. MBG already did a video on this stuff, but I love dog shit, so let's get it. Apologies, crazy. So what I'm going to do is, for those of you that don't, and again, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, that don't like reading stuff, because I'm kind of like that too. Like when I'm on the go, I don't like reading stuff. So I have like special audio programs that will convert text to speech. Cause I be on the go in the mornings, man. I'm going to do that here to the best of my ability. Right. So Philip said 22, what's going on? I'm going to read everything for you, so you don't have to go and read it. You can just hear it verbally, if that helps. All right. And then we can talk about a little bit afterwards. But here it goes. First, from your homeboy Nibble. It's official. PlayStation 5 will be released at the end of 2020. And then he has official name is the PlayStation 5. Ray tracing support is hardware based. New SSD will boot times, loading times, and streaming. Controller has now adaptive triggers, haptic feedback, new speakers, USB Type-C. Full details in the Wired article, which I'm going to go over in totality. Wired also confirmed that the PlayStation 5 dev kit is real and developers already have access to both the dev kit and new controller. Bluepoint teases PlayStation 5 project. We are working on a big one right now, says Marco Thrush, president of Bluepoint Games, which most recently worked on last year's PS4 remake of Shadow of the Colossus. I'll let you figure the rest. So it looks like they may be doing a remake of a popular game. And then they talk about some information via the PlayStation blog, which I will read over in totality. Some minor details on the DualShock controller, better battery, heavier DualShock 4 but lighter than the Xbox controller with batteries in it. Haptic feedback could have been included in PlayStation 4 but PlayStation 4 Pro, but they decided against it. And Wired also speculates that game installs will be more modular, that you can choose which parts to install and uninstall. All right, just some of the stuff that's released there. In addition, your homeboy Jason Schreier had helped highlight some of this for me because I ran into his article first and then I started reading through Nebel's stuff, his postings. And he also says here, lots of good next gen details in here. I'm on paternity leave, but did ask a couple of people about Sony's, about the PS5 rumors last week, that Sony was communicating poorly about the PlayStation 5 and heard the exact opposite. One third-party dev said the hardware was excellent and tools were on time. So Gizmodo, man, you got a lot of splayed in the duel. you got Microsoft categorically denying your claims about the camera. And now you got this, man. I mean, you don't got to reveal your sources, Gizmodo, but you got to come up with something, man. Your credibility's on the line. Facts. All right, so let's first see what PlayStation has to say about this. Let me just read this to you guys, all right? Let me enlarge this a little bit. All right, there we go. Is that a little too much? Let me minus it just a little bit. All right. Okay, so it says an update on next gen. PlayStation 5 launches holiday 2020, including the first details of the next generation console's new controller. But let me go to the chat first. Devin got the box in here. Big up to Devin, Philip Sand, Paul G. Who else we got in here? We got Cold Blood Sensei. What's good? What's good? What's good? I'm just doing my peoples a solid and I'm reading them information. No Russian was popping. I'm just reading y'all the information so y'all ain't gotta sit there and burn y'all retinas out. Use your second grade education to try to read. It's like, no, I'm just playing. You know me, I'm gonna stumble all over this, but bear with me. But I'm gonna try to shoot everybody in solid because, like I said, I don't like reading stuff. So we're gonna read this together and hopefully we kill birds with one stone, maybe. You know what I mean? All right, so the article reads from the PlayStation blog. Since we originally unveiled our next generation console in April, we know that there's been a lot of excitement and interest in hearing more about what the future of games will bring. Today, I'm proud to share that our next generation console will be called the PlayStation 5 and will be launching in time for holiday 2020. These updates may not be a huge surprise, true, but we wanted to confirm them for our PlayStation fans. Necessary as we started to reveal additional details about our vision for the next generation. Wired magazine covered these updates and more in a story that posted this morning. The more refers to something I'm quite excited about, a preview of the new controller that will ship with the PlayStation 5. One of our goals with the next generation is to deepen the feeling of immersion when you play games, and we had the opportunity with our new controller to reimagine how the sense of touch can add that immersion. To that end, there are two key innovations. With PlayStation 5's new controller, first we're adopting haptic feedback to replace the rumble technology found in controllers since the 5th generation of consoles. With haptic, you truly feel a broader range of feedback, so crashing into a wall in a race car feels much more different than making a tackle on a football field. You can even get a sense of variety of textures when running through fields of grass or plodding through mud. The second innovation is something we call adaptive triggers, which have been incorporated into trigger buttons L2 and R2. Developers can program the resistance of the triggers so that you can feel the tactical sensation of drawing a bow and arrow or accelerating an off-road vehicle through rocky terrain. In combination with the haptics, this can produce a powerful experience that better simulates various actions. Game creators have started to receive early versions of the new controller, and we can't wait to see whether the imagination goes with these new features at their disposal. While there's much to share about PlayStation 5 in year ahead, we have plenty of blockbuster experiences coming your way on PlayStation 4, including Death Stranding, The Last of Us Part 2, and Ghost of Tsushima. I'd like to thank all PlayStation fans for continuing the journey with us as we embark on the future of games. Okay, so the big takeaway there is that it seems like that Ghost of Tsushima will have a 2019 release. Okay, that's the big takeaway from that. It appears that way. Nothing official yet, but they, you know how Sony do. They like to throw the little tasty tidbits out of there. All right, so my thoughts on that. Yeah, it's cool that there's going to be updates with the controller, haptic feedback, and all the other cool stuff. I mean, I think Sony did some decent stuff, had some decent ideas with the controller. I remember playing Days Gone and hearing the radio signals through the controller. I thought that was dope. You know what I'm saying? I did think that was a dope integration. So, I feel comfortable knowing what they're going to do with the PlayStation 5 controller. All right, so on to the big kit and caboodle. This Wired story. Oh, I need to minus this a little bit. See, my thing is off a little bit. Okay, let's do it one. Okay, let's do it a solid. Okay, now exclusive, a deeper look at the PlayStation 5. Now that the name is official, we've got more details about Sony's next-gen console, from the haptics pack controller to the UI improvements. Before I read this, let's go to the chat. Paul says, great catching you live. Clearly using 1,000 gigabyte 4 disc means streaming can't wait. No Russian also says that's what Xbox One controller got in it. Sony's a fool. Laugh out loud. I know. Ain't no Russian. Don't curb their enthusiasm already, man. You know what I'm saying? As Z would say, don't mess up the super chat. No Russian out here cutting up. Talus. The gaming calendar year is April to April. All right, cool. So let's get into this. There's a lot of news, man. A lot of news early in the AM, man. I knew I should have held that Ghost Recon video, but decisions a content creator has to go through daily. All right, so can y'all see that? Let me enlarge that a little bit. Okay, there we go. Ever since the original PlayStation hit the market in 1994, Sony's series of video games console has stuck to the numbers. No Super, no Max, no Code Red, Extreme, just PlayStation 2, 3, and 4. With such unwavering consistency, the name of the next iteration has been questioned only in the most technical sense, but Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan is still ready to answer it. The console, he tells me, will be called PlayStation 5. It's nice to be able to say it, he says, like a giant burden has been lifted from my shoulders. So there you go, PlayStation 5, holiday 2020. No surprise there, you know what I'm saying? Hey, J-Dub, appreciate it. And again, let me know if this music is too loud or whatever the case may be, if there's any issues, which I'll see in the articles I go through it. All right, Sony hasn't said too much about the console since April, when Wired broke the story about development efforts on what was then known only as the next generation console. In fact, the company has said nothing. Sony skipped game shows, E3 this year, a void during which Microsoft unveiled details about how its own next gen console successor to the Xbox One, referred to only as Project Scarlet. Like the PlayStation 5, Scarlet will boast a CPU based on AMD's Ryzen line and a GPU based on its Navi family. Like the PlayStation 5, it will ditch the spinning hard drive for a solid state drive. Now, though, in a conference room at Sony's US headquarters, Ryan and system architect Mark Cerny, creepy Mark Cerny, are eager to share specifics. Paul G says kinda how Xbox added headphone support to the new controller. J-Dub, MM2K is out of control with his Xbox. All right, on to the next paragraph. Before they do, Sony wants to clarify something. When we last discussed the forthcoming console, he spoke about its ability to support ray tracing, a technique that can enable complex lighting and sound effects and 3D environments. Given the many questions he's revealed since, he fears he may have been ambiguous about how the PlayStation 5 would accomplish this, and confirms that it's not a software level fix, which some had feared. There is ray tracing acceleration in the GP hardware units, he says. Which I believe is a statement that people were looking for. A belief born out of my own Twitter mentions, which for a couple of weeks in April made graphics rendering techniques seem like the only thing the internet ever cared about. Hey, you know how we are on the internet? You know how we are in these gaming streets, man? We nitpick everything. With that in hand, so let's discuss that real quick. So it's going to have, to the homie J-Dub's delight, it's going to have hardware-based ray tracing. It sounds like to me. And again, I'm not an expert at this stuff. I go to the school of Bachelor Foundry D-Batch. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, it sounds like it's going to be hardware-based. Paul G says, Post-Up has taken an L on the ray tracing front. Hey, Paul, come on, don't do it to my brother this morning. Don't give J-Dub that ammunition, because he going to rat-a-tat-tat that ass. Pause. But yeah, Post-Up gets an L. With that said, let's go back to the article. With that in hand, back to the PlayStation 5 solid-state drive, which Cerny first extolled for the way it can turn loading time from a hassle to a blank. It's not just that the speed makes the SSD formidable, he says, but the efficiency it offers. Think about the hard drive in a game console spinning like a 5400 RPM. Ooh, that makes me sick to my stomach here at 5400. Yuck! For the console to read a piece of information off the drive, it has to send out the disk head like a turntable needle. To find it, each seek, as it's known, may only entail a scant handful of milliseconds, but seeks added up. To minimize them, developers will often duplicate certain game assets in order to form contiguous data blocks, which the drive can read faster. We're talking common stuff here: lampposts, anonymous, passerbys, whatever. So for the gist of that, for my listeners, I just want to say this. And I know a lot of y'all don't game on PC, but to put this in terms from my PC gaming experience, 5400 or 7200, whatever these hard drives are doing now that are in these consoles, solid state is leaps ahead. Even NVE, right? Or the M.2 solid state drives. Oh my God. This, in this regard, I think is going to be like the most impressive part and the most heartfelt part of the next generation is these load speeds. You know what I mean? Because we've seen some atrocious load speeds this generation on console, but this SSD integration is going to improve that, and I heavily applaud it, and I love it. I love hearing this stuff. And you guys will love being able to play with this stuff too, man. Trust me. On to the article, but adds up data. But data adds up too. If you look at a game like Marvel Spider-Man, Cerny says there are some pieces of data duplicated 400 times on a hard drive. The SSD sweeps away the need for all that duping. So not only is the raw speed dramatically faster than the hard drive, but it saves crucial space. How developers will take advantage of that space will likely differ. Some may opt to build a larger, more detailed game world. Others may be content to shrink the size of the game or patches. Either way, physical games for the PlayStation 4 will use 100 gigabyte optical discs inserted into an optical drive that doubles a 4K Blu-ray player. All right. So let's see here. Let's go to the chat. No Russia says, so now ponies can quit cap and acting like software-based ray tracing would somehow be better. Hey yo, they do that cap business, don't they? They do that cap business like nobody else, man. I see some of that, No Russian. Paul G says, where's the receipts that claim Low Russian? Hey, I've seen some of it. Bruh. We gonna find them. We can find them on Twitter, man. But rest assured that there ain't got to be no capping no more, man. And No Russian also says NVMe is the best. That's accessed directly off the motherboard. Yeah, man. I love it. All right, enough with Kevin Hart. Let's go on to the article. However, game installation, which is mandatory given the speed difference between the SSD and the optical drive, will be a bit different than in the PlayStation 4. This time around, aided in part by the simplified game data possible with the solid state drive. Sony is changing its approach to storage, making more configurable installation, the removal process rather than treating games like a block of data. Sony says, we're allowing finer grain access to the data. That could mean the ability to install just a game's multiplayer campaign, leaving the single player campaign for another time, or just installing the whole thing and then deleting the single player campaign once you finished it. Wow. So in games like Grand Theft Auto 5, that would be a big thing, man. If I'm going too fast, let me know too, y'all. There's just so much information, and I got called out yesterday, and rightfully so. These videos are called quick doses. I might have to change the name, but I like how it rolls off the tongue. And my quick doses are like an hour and a half, and they're meant to only be like 15 minutes. But this one's going to be a little bit longer again because there's a lot of this article here. So if I'm going too fast, let me know. Or again, if the volume is too high in the music, whatever adjustments I need to make, let me know. Paul G says, stood by PlayStation 5 having hardware-based ray tracing. Am I right? MM2K. We stood by for the most part, yeah. I would say for the most part, no. What you gotta understand is I'm in circles that you guys may not be privy to. So there was a lot of spooky stuff being said, man. So that's what comes to my mind first and foremost. I'm not 100% sure about the chatter that may be out there in the gaming streets. I know behind the scenes, Paul G, and y'all may have been behind that there's going to be hardware-based ray tracing. I will tell you that there was a lot of spooky stuff being said. Some of it leaked out too into the gaming street, but there's a lot of spooky stuff said and a lot of the chats and stuff that I'm privy to, man. So, there could be. I'm not going to discredit what you're saying, Paul G. Could be, you know what I'm saying? But again, at the end of the day, we know what it is now, and my homie Post Up took a big L, man. He gonna have to pay for his sins, man. Heath Stevens is the Wired article. Is that the Wired article? Yes, sir. That is the Wired article. Random guy, MM2K will answer for again line for PlayStation's Good Christian Day. No! Random guy, no, I'm a part of Bachelor Foundry. Therefore, I am not allowed to put D to task for all of his forgery, his fraudulent works. Hey, look. And plus, I promised D that I would, as a broadband bully, I would stop continuing to dishonor his brand any more so than he does himself. With that said, on to the article, man. This is good stuff. But it continues to say, regardless of what parts of the game you choose to install and play, you'll be able to stay abreast of it via completely revamped user interfaces. The PlayStation 4's bare bones home screen at times feels frozen in amber. You can see what your friends have recently done or even what game titles they might be playing in a moment, but without launching an individual title, there's no way to tell what single player missions you could do or with multiplayer matches you could join. The PlayStation 5 will change that. Even though it will be fairly fast to boot games, we don't want the player to have to boot the game, see what's up, boot the game, see what's up. Certainly says multiplayer game servers will provide the console with a set of joinable activities in real time. Single player games will provide information like what missions you can do and what rewards you might receive for completing them. And all of those choices will be visible in the UI or in the GUI, as I like to say, as it's predominantly pronounced. As a player, you just jump right into whatever you like, and I think that's cool. He says many other things, knowing he'll fend off any follow-up questions. The ventures beyond what's to talk about are like, what does the UI actually look like? How big will the SSD be? Or even, is that a microphone? Which is exactly what I asked when Sony hands me a prototype of the next generation controller and an unlabeled Matty block doohickey that looks an awful lot like a PlayStation DualShock 4. After all, there's a little hole in it. And a recently published patent points to Sony developing a voice-driven AI assistant for the PlayStation. But all I get from Sony is, we'll talk more about it in another time. We file patents on a regular basis, a spokesperson tells me later, and like many companies, some of those patents end up in our products and some don't. Good point. The controller, which history suggests will be called the DualShock 5, though Sony just says it doesn't have a name yet, does have some features Sony's most interested in acknowledging. One is adaptive triggers that can offer varying levels of resistance to pull, shooting a bow, and arrow feel like the real thing. The tension increasing as you pull the arrow back or make the machine gun feel far different from a shotgun. It also boasts haptic feedback, far more capable and rumble motor console gamers are used to, with highly programmable voice coil actuators located in the left and right grips of the controller. Okay, so I think that's interesting. Let's go to the chat. MM2K, tell the PlayStation haters out there being frauds before stats were even posted, hand them over the knees and get them thrown to the bushes. Laugh out loud. King Player. D-Bash is just like Digital Foundry. Digital Foundry bowed to King Thrash. In reference to that, let me say this real quick because I don't want to go too off. John bowed to King Thrash. I don't know how happy the rest of Digital Foundry are about John's unstable nature in regards to all of this. And I might or might not do a video. I'm contemplating and talking to King Thrash and seeing if we can get together on it. It's going to be explosive because we have two totally different takes on it. But I will say that for different reasons, I agree with you. I think Digital Foundry now has officially proved themselves irrelevant. Digital Foundry is irrelevant. That's on for another thing. You know what I'm saying? But I feel that way. Not for the same reasons that you feel, but we could all agree on that Digital Foundry now is irrelevant. And I have a video speaking to that I made like last year, but whatever the case. With that being said, let's hop on. There's a lot of people that got a lot of answers to make. I will admit that in regards to what was capable as far as ray tracing is concerned. But what do y'all feel about the controller? Let me know in the chat, man. I think that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I like the voice integration in the controller, and I think they might be doing some more dope things with the PlayStation 5 controller. The tension feature, I'm not the biggest fan of that because I have a tendency of just pressing the buttons hard. I don't like the soft release stuff. You know what I'm saying? If I could shut that on and off, I'd be a happy camper. But it does create immersion. I do like it. I do like the implementation. Just because I don't like it, doesn't mean that I don't think that it should be implemented. But I'm just not the biggest fan of it personally. But I think it's dope for everyone else. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the what's it called? But before I get to that, No Rush says John hella email, his job might be on the line now. Yeah, John needs some help, man. John definitely needs some help. Wounded Penguin says that haptic feedback they're talking about is basically like the HD Rumble Nintendo has in the control. Yeah, it's nothing new. They're making it sound like it's something new, but it's cool that it's going to finally be integrated with what they have, and I'm sure Xbox is going to have an answer. All right. So back to the article. Combined with an improved speaker on the controller, the haptic can enable some astonishing effects. First, I played through a series of short demos courtesy of some of the same Japan studio team to design the PlayStation VR's Astrobot rescue mission. And the most impressive, I ran a character through a platform level featuring a number of different surfaces, all of which gave the strength and surprisingly immersive tactical experiences. Sand felt slow and sloggy, mud felt slow and soggy. On ice, a high frequency response made the thumbstick really feel like my character was gliding. Jumping into a pool, I got a sense of the resistance of water on a wooden bridge, a bouncy sensation. Next, a version of Gran Turismo Sport that Sony had ported over to a PlayStation 5 dev kit, a dev kit that on quick glance looks like the one that Gizmodo reported on last week. The company refused to comment on questions about how dev kits form factor might compare to what's being considered the consumer product. Driving on the border between the track and the dirt, I could feel both surfaces doing the same and on the same track using a DualShock 4 on the PlayStation 4. That sensation disappeared entirely. It wasn't that old style rumble feel. Feedback paled in comparison. It was that there was no feedback at all. User tests found that the rumble feedback was too tiring to use continuously, so the release version of the GT Sport simply didn't use it. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? You think Rumble was, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's time to update it. Definitely with stuff like haptic or whatever, but do y'all think it was tired? I don't know if it was tired on a racing game, you know what I'm saying? There's been a long time coming. Product manager Toshi Aoki says the controller team has been working on haptic feedback since the DualShock 4 was in development. They even could have included it in the PlayStation 4. during the mid-cycle refresh, though doing so would have created a split experience for gamers. So the future suite was held for the next generation. There are also some other small improvements over the DualShock 4. The next generation controller uses a USB Type-C. Oh shit. Holy cow. That's dope. The next generation console uses a USB Type-C connector for charging, and you can play through the... God, oh shit. Yeah. I'm a little stoked about that. Philip Moore, what's going on, man? I'm a little stoked about that, man. You can play... Woo! It's larger hold on, let me read that again. The next-gen controller uses a USB Type-C connector for charging, and you can play through the cable as well. It's a larger capacity battery, and haptics motors can make the new controller a bit heavier than the DualShock 4, but Awuki says it will still come in a bit lighter than the current Xbox controller with batteries in it. Goddamn. Bruh. USB-C? I mean, I shouldn't be shocked about it, but it's good to get past the mini USB or whatever micro, whatever it is, because USB-C, man, that's laser sharp fast, man. You're gonna get some serious. I'm sorry to take a water break. A lot of talking. You're gonna get a lot of fast speeds and high connections. You know what I'm saying? Woo, that's dope. That is dope, and I'm wondering too if they're using USB-C to help with, like remote play. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a feature where, like, if you get the right stand, you can use a USB. I've ordered them myself. You can use USB-C connections if your phone takes it to transfer data from your joystick to your controller to eliminate latency via Bluetooth. So that's an interesting feature altogether. So let's continue. Oh, let me go to the chat. Let me see here. Good shit right there. No Russian says Sony is smart, starting the narrative by putting all this stuff out and gaining mindshare in the process. Samuel Walton says no Russian exactly. Pete Stevens, I'm hearing all good things from this article. All right, so let's continue on. How game studios will use all these new features from previously known ones like the SSD and the ray tracing acceleration to newer ones like the controller and real-time UI is still a matter of some speculation. While a number of studios already had their PS5 dev kits, the controller prototypes began rolling out much more recently, and no one is ready to name specific titles they're developing for the PlayStation 5. We're working on a big one right now, says Micro Thrush, president of Bluepoint Games, which most recently worked on last year's PlayStation 4 game remake of Shadow of Colossus. I'll let you figure out the rest. That doesn't mean that they're not exploring. The SSD has me really excited, Thrush says. You don't need to do gameplay hacks anymore to artificially slow players down. Lock them behind doors, anything like that. Back in the cartridge days, games used to load instantly. We're kind of going back to what consoles used to be, which is dope. I could be really specific and talk about experimenting with ambient occlusion techniques or other examination of ray trace shadows, says Lori Millif, chief studio officer of EA. God damn, they even got EA talking about this shit. More generally, we're seeing the GPU be able to power machine learning for all sorts of really interesting advancements and tools. Above all, Millie adds, it's the speed of everything that we will define the next crop of consoles. We're stepping into the next generation of immediacy in mobile games. We're expected to download in moments and be just a few taps from jumping right in. Now we're able to tackle that in a big way. That tackle gets a lot easier, Jim Ryan knows, when a burden has been lifted from your shoulders. So say hello to the PlayStation 5 officially. Maybe one of these days we'll all learn what the thing actually looks like. And that's it from Wired. It's a lot to get there. A lot to get there. So, here's my just my initial thoughts. My biggest takeaway from this article is the rapid speed of everything. Like their approach to the rapid speed portion of the next generation, right? Let me move this up because I don't want to get no strikes for, or let me just go back to my regular screen because I don't want to get no strikes for no advertisements popping up. The rapid speed of the SSD, now the rapid speed of the controller with the USB-C integration. That's the biggest takeaway, and I think it's a good thing to focus on because I'm going to tell you, next to 60 frames per second, even before visuals, the biggest impact on gaming to me is speed. It's speed. And gaming, one thing that I cannot do is I cannot game when I'm playing shooters. I really, it's difficult for me to game on less than 60 frames per second. I can do 45 at the least. I also cannot do slow load times. It breaks up the immersion unless I'm playing like them 2D scrollers, you know what I'm saying? Those are the only games I'll forgive that on. But man, that the speed portion that they focused on, I think it's good, man. And it makes me, and I know, and I say that, and kudos to PlayStation for releasing this information, but I know Xbox is gonna have an answer too. It makes me excited for the next set of consoles, man. I'm gonna focus on PlayStation because we're mainly talking about PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? To be fair to them. It makes me excited for the PlayStation 5. And I will say that the PlayStation 5, with all of the details of the visuals and stuff, it's definitely going to be a buy for me. I don't know yet. I will be honest with you. I don't know yet if I'm going to get it day one. I normally, and it's nothing against PlayStation 5, I normally don't buy consoles day one. Because I have a rule of thumb. Normally the console that you buy day one is the most effective, the most, you know what I'm saying, the least working. So I normally wait until the first batch is like in its second generation. So I'll usually wait like 6 to 8 months before I buy a new console. And I've done that through my whole life. The only time that I bought a console on release was the Xbox One X, and that was a mid-gen console. And it was needed because, you know, the Xbox One didn't provide up to par visual experiences in comparison to its competitors. So, and again, don't fret, PlayStation Nation. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be the first PlayStation that I'm likely going to buy before an Xbox ever. You know, even when the Xbox, well, I didn't get a PlayStation 2 at launch. Even though, you know, people were big on DVDs. I didn't watch a lot of TV back then, and I wasn't playing games all like that. And it wasn't until like a few months after the GameCube and the original Xbox release, I got all three at the same time. I was running the scam through it was a legal scam. I was running the scam through GameStop, and I was fortunate enough to get all three at the same time. You know, and I was testing out and playing games on all three. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, so it was crazy. But yeah, this will be the first PlayStation console that I get before the Xbox console, because I don't even know if I'm getting a next gen Xbox. And nothing against the Xbox, Xbox Nation. First and foremost is because they don't want to sell you the box, really. You know what I'm saying? They want you to play on PC. So it's just a matter of me boosting up my PC and, you know, getting the Xbox experience there. In addition to that, Xbox has to sell me on their new Windows gaming mantra. I'm liking what I'm seeing from PlayStation in regards to console gaming, right? So Xbox might just supplement my PC experience. And as far as my console gaming experience, which is primarily going to be through third party, I might get PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I'm looking for PlayStation to do is give me easy access to an Xbox style controller with the thumbsticks, you know, change anywhere. I'm not talking about them third party $150, $200 ones. Those have a lot of feedback to them from what I hear. And lastly, what I would love for PlayStation to do is allow me to adjust response times and stuff like how you can do with your Elite controller. You can adjust all that stuff. And PlayStation, if you do that, it's a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Switch is no-brainer. You know, one of the most integral things that you could have is control and control response. And if you're used to one set for decades and decades, PlayStation, you can, the nail in the coffin will be allow that to be adjustable. Allow it to, for that metric to be uploadable or adjustable on your system. It's a no-brainer, because that's, honestly, believe it or not, that's what keeps a lot of people off the system. Is us not liking the control response. It's different. I'm not gonna get into the technical bibble babble again. I'm a school of Bachelor Foundry, you know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all to see my fraud certificate 100% yet, right? But I'm not gonna get into the technical babble and say which one is better, but it's clearly different. And it's a lot to get used to. And if Sony can just make the adjustment to allow you to get to utilize the Xbox version of the response, and they allow they came out with a PlayStation branded joystick that allows you to switch those thumbsticks, I'm on, man. It's a no-brainer. I'm going to be honest with you. 90% of why I don't utilize my PlayStation is for that reason, those reasons, and that reason alone. I don't do a lot of multiplayer. I do a lot of co-op stuff. I can use Discord now. We be in the Discord chatting, so I don't need Xbox Live. Xbox Live has not been the most stable anyway. I think to set up the Azure for, you know what I'm saying, for xCloud. But that's another story. That's another podcast. 90% is what's keeping me off the system is the controller. So if PlayStation can do that, because even regardless of how I feel about their games that they make. Again, they're not always my cup of tea. But the majority of the games that we play, y'all, let's keep it 100. The majority of the games that we play are multi-plat games. It would be a no-brainer for me for all my console multi-plat games to be on the PlayStation if they can be more welcoming on the controller. I'm gonna give you my biggest pet peeve this generation. And I hope somebody forces to play. Let's have an honest discussion. This is not this is better than that. It's about preferences. It's about real gaming talk. When I play God of War, I love the game. But the most frustrating thing for me for God of War is that because I'm so used to the Xbox control mechanism, the attack and the block, me not being able to fully customize every single button because LT and RT are utilized differently on PlayStation opposed to Xbox. When you're playing shooters, they use the buttons for the zoom and the shoot opposed to the triggers, and it's vice versa on Xbox. Now, a lot of the games, they allow you to switch that, but that same mechanic or that same button setup mantra was applied to God of War. So when I wanted to block and attack, it was on a different control scheme, and I couldn't adjust that, and that was frustrating for me. You know what I'm saying? And it required me to lower the skill level when I was playing God of War because I just couldn't get used to that control scheme. And we're going into the next generation, to the 9th generation. Every control mechanism should be highly customizable, like a PC. I think that this is the biggest generation that we're coming into that has a chance to really make PC eat shit in regards to affordability and plug and play. Don't get me wrong. You put enough money into a PC, you're going to destroy the capabilities of a console. But I'm talking about the biggest bang for your buck. You know, you'll get the biggest, I think you'll have the gap close so much on a console versus a PC next generation. You know what I'm saying? In that regards. And the missing piece is fully customizable controls. They get fully customizable controls. It's a no-brainer. And you'll see a lot of people that are just lingering on, still hanging on to the tip of Xbox. They'll leave unless Xbox, and then Xbox will be forced to knock it out of the park with content. See, Xbox knows that. They know that there's people that just will not leave because they cannot get, they can't get down with the PlayStation controls. So Sony, if you hear me, I implore you, I'm excited. This article excites the hell out of me as far as the speed thing about it, man. I'm highly excited. The last portion that I'm asking for is please integrate customizable controls all the way around, and y'all come out with a with a first party controller, even if it's an additional charge that allows you to swap. Go for the nail in the coffin, man. You know what I'm saying? Take me, Calgon, take me away. Pause. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, man, let's go to the chat and get y'all thoughts on all this, man. This is not. I don't want to. It's not explosive news. It's not like some big reveal, but it's exciting news. Particularly for game nerds like me, it's exciting news. Let me go to the chat. With USB-C, Heath Stevens says the next PlayStation VR will be able to have one wire connection, but I would think it would be wireless. Yeah, there's rumors that it's going to be wireless. And Heath Stevens says you can get a Natcon Revolution Pro controller for under $100. I heard about that, Heath. The feedback on it, it's not only the control scheme. See, y'all wouldn't understand this unless y'all game on Xbox regularly or primarily. It's not just the thumbsticks that we're looking for. It's the response time and how the response time works. Again, I'm not saying it's better, it's different. You know what I'm saying? And those little small integral things are key when you're gaming. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna tell you an untold secret. Homies like Devin in the Box and whoever might be mad at me, man. You know what I'm saying? For telling y'all this secret. I'm gonna say 70% of the people that did not go with the rest of the people over the PlayStation didn't go primarily for that. At least 70%. When we talk in our circles, it's just, I can't get down with that controller, man. Or I can't get down with them controls. The Xbox for us had made the controls just so right that trying to learn and convert that, we don't want to do it. It don't feel right. Like when I play games, it feels like it's different. So if it could be just a mind trickery thing, but it feels like that there's a lag. Even though on paper they say there's no lag, the response, it feels like there's a lag. It's different. You know what I'm saying? So PlayStation can fix that. I mean, with the Elite controller, I can actually make the response time on my Elite controller feel like a PlayStation. So that technology is out there. I'm hoping PlayStation just does the same. Rips that technology and integrates it into all of their consoles. And then make a first-party controller even for an additional charge. Because I get it, you ain't got to cater to me. The majority of your gamer base is happy with that. Make a controller that boom. That for an additional charge I can get down with, man. It's a wrap. It's over. It's over. You know what I mean? But I see what you're saying. Heath Stevens just, post up loves L's. Yeah, he getting them today, man. That and the Astro 4 controller. Yeah. It's not just the layout. The layout is key too, but it's the feel. Let me see who else. He says, is this motherfucker downplaying greatness again? Oh, no, man. No. People aren't leaving just got that dude. Stop. Some folks are on Xbox for a lot more than just a controller. The stick location is also an issue. That's what I just said, Pixel Bit G. And big up to Pixel Bit G. I've seen you in here before, man. So thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. No, I didn't say just the controller. I'm saying the overwhelming majority. Why they wouldn't even entertain leaving? Though there's nothing Microsoft can do that'll get them off the Xbox as long as they still get third-party games. If they still are getting the same third-party games that PlayStation is getting, because that's the majority of the games that they play. See, I'm gonna tell y'all a secret, man. Let me explain. This was supposed to be us celebrating this PlayStation news, which I did. But I want to inform everybody. This is an information channel. I try to make it that the best way I can. I'm gonna put y'all in. I'm gonna put y'all into the clubhouse. I'm gonna let y'all in the clubhouse, so y'all can put down y'all telescopes and y'all ultrasonic sound wave machines trying to listen to what's going on in the clubhouse. I'm gonna tell you what happens in the Xbox clubhouse. Okay. The majority of us, we cap for those Xbox games, but as the numbers tell you, We don't play them shits. We don't play them shits. The numbers don't lie. The vast majority of people that are on the Xbox console are playing the multi-plat games, the multi-plat games. Because if you look at the numbers, the multi-plat games are pacing at the same rate that the consoles are selling at. So that's on an even kill. You know what I'm saying? You know, Sony is outselling Microsoft 2-1, 2.5-1 in consoles. The multi-plat games are outselling 2.5-1. It's where you get to the exclusives, where the PlayStation exclusives are outselling 3, 4, 5-1 in some cases. We don't play them shits. We are simply stuck on the box because we are stuck to the controls and the button layouts. I'm going to be hog-tied. They're going to hog-tie him. They're going to hog-tie her for telling y'all this. But the vast majority of us still on that box are on the box for them controls. And for the life of me, I will not understand Mark Cerny, Jim Ryan. If y'all don't implement this, I don't know what the hell y'all thinking. Because this will go a long way more than any advertisement could go. Because y'all want to destroy Xbox. I'm gonna tell you right now, the biggest way that y'all can destroy Xbox is to release it at PlayStation 5. Say, look, now we're making it to where you can customize your control and your response to the tune of your favorite former console. And have profiles and stuff like that people can load up, you know what I'm saying, that are, you know, heavily guardrailed, you know what I'm saying, so ain't no funny-duddy stuff going on. And y'all can have a profile called The Box, you know what I'm saying, that people can load up, or y'all can have a profile called Greatness, you know what I'm saying, people can load up for the joy. If y'all do that, and then come out with a first-party controller that has the joystick thumb configurations like the Xbox, game over. Period. We don't play this. We don't play this shits. Look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. We are staying on the box because look. Let me just break it down to you. The quality of the games that we release. We ain't releasing no Mass Effects or no Bioshocks. You know what I'm saying? We ain't helping spawn no Fallouts. Old Microsoft or old Xbox the past helped spawn those games. Those developers and publishers will tell you that if it wasn't for Xbox, you would never have seen those games come to light on console, or if at all. Ken Levine told you if it wasn't for Xbox, there would have been no Bioshock. He's told you that. You don't see nothing of that caliber this generation. Mass Effect started off as an Xbox exclusive. So the quality of games are gone. Then we've seen Xbox Live start to deteriorate over time. So Xbox Live is gone as far as being the obliterating online experience. It may still be edging PlayStation Now or PSN and PSN Plus, but PSN Plus is now good enough. You don't see the innovation in the software or the applications and all the entertainment aspects, the auxiliary aspects of it. You don't see that. They're running neck and neck with PlayStation. What you get on Xbox, you get on PlayStation as far as apps and stuff. You don't see that breakaway in that regards. You don't really see a breakaway in the technology. The only thing that you have is an Xbox One X that does create better fidelity for your third-party games. But then again, to rival that, PlayStation has a game that rivaled up until Gears of War 5, rivaled anything that the Xbox One X played. On a $200 box. So everything that separated Xbox logically from being a preferred system is gone. But they still have 40 million people out there. That's still a good chunk. It's still more than the PlayStation, the PS2, Xbox One, GameCube generation. And to me, the the original Xbox was a much better console for its time and its generation than the Xbox One is. Clear cut for what it offered. As far as where technology was at that time, it was leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. But they got slaughtered 150 million to 24 million. This Xbox is already at 40 million. So it's outpacing a box that it did better than. Why? All logical litmuses out there tell you that that there shouldn't be more than 24 million Xboxes out there. So what happened? I'm gonna tell you, the last saving grace for Xbox is the controls. It is the controls. And if anybody's listening to me and you have a pipeline of Jim Ryan, or you have a pipeline of Sony, period. Excuse my French, but MM2K's on one right now because it's just a little bit of news that excite me. I'm on one. You let these motherfuckers know that it is their civic duty to get their ass to the studio and integrate game control profiles that have the same resistance as Xbox and a controller with an Xbox layout. If they don't do that shit, I gotta question their integrity. Fuck a commercial. I need to see the shit in my hands. You know what I'm saying? If they do that, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer for your boy. It's a no-brainer. Because then I'll simply say, PlayStation 5 is gonna be my console of choice. If there were anything in the Xbox ecosystem that I want to experience, I can experience it via PC. Now, if they make Game Pass worth my while, I'll stay invested in Game Pass. But my console of choice and my console experience of choice and where I'll get all my console third parties will be PlayStation. It'll be a no-brainer. I'm letting y'all into the clubhouse. I'll probably never do this again. I probably won't live. Just do another podcast after this. They probably gonna come for me and take me out. But I'm giving y'all a peer into the clubhouse. 70% of the people that are still on Xbox are there because they can't get down with the PlayStation controls. Period. That's it. They don't play the Xbox games. Look at the numbers. They play the multiplats. So I will know how a true indicator with all this bibble babble and all this shit that Sony's done. Yeah, we're for the hardcore gamer. I want to see how much for the hardcore gamer they are. If they implement those two things, which are not hard, coming out with a specific controller layout with thumbsticks is not hard. Providing a profile, which the Elite controller for Xbox already does, is not hard. If they do those two things, then I know where PlayStation's head at and it's game over. So that's what all this means to me. And again, this was another quick dose that was not quick. With that said, let me shout out the chat, man. You know what I'm saying? I went left with this, man. And I went left with this. Heath Stevens says, MM2K, that shouldn't matter because you use a junk box controller on PlayStation 4 and vice versa. It does matter, Heath. Here's why it matters. Timing, when you're, look, I've been gaming for 30 plus years. Damn well 20 of those years, half of my gaming life, I've used an Xbox controller primarily. I use your response time. It's built into my membranes, into my bone marrow. I'm too old to be learning new tricks. To hell with that adage, it's never too late to show a new old dog new tricks. To hell it isn't. Yes, it is. I'm not learning. I can't get that. Even though I'm playing PlayStation 5 I mean, PlayStation 4, more often than not with Fallout 76 because of remote play, it's difficult for me to get with those controls. So I don't do it as much as I want to. It's just like, it's hard. So it makes a difference because timing is everything. You gain a rhythm. And for the last 20 years, I've gained a specific rhythm. And all PlayStation got to do is let me be clear, three things. Customizable controls. Response feedback. You know what I'm saying? Elite controllers, there's no excuse. The Elite controller does that now. And a joystick with a different layout. Game over. Devin the Box says still green. He said still green. He angry, man. Hey, look, don't skip me aloud, man. Let's see here. You can remap the place. No, not true. Not true. I've tried, especially with God of War. I couldn't do it. I couldn't swap how the L2 and the R2 responds. You know what I'm saying? But it's not just remapping. That's part of it. That is part of it. But I tried. What I tried to do is I tried to swap the L2 and the R2. The L1 and the R1 and the R2. You know, I tried to swap those. How they work. I tried to switch that and I couldn't do it. With that said, it's three things. Customizable controls to anything you want. You know, the button layout. Secondly, change your response time. You can do that with the Elite controller now. It needs to be wide. Sony needs to say, "Ooh, that's some good shit. We can get the last of these Xbox mods." Why do y'all think that the Elite controller, even though everything else is doing crud for the system, the Elite controller did well for the Xbox? It's mainly because of that feature. I mean, the Elite controller, the paddles and everything, it's the best controller out there. But that is like the best integration with a controller of all time. Is being able to do that, right? So PlayStation needs to take that. Paul G said profiles would be great. Pixel G said as long as Xbox shows up with hardware, which they will continue to have a base. There are also no. I totally disagree. Pixel G. You ain't been in the clubhouse, bro. You ain't been in the club. You're trying to tell me that if Xbox keeps pace. No. You're trying to tell me that if Xbox this generation would have kept it the same this generation, but yet PlayStation came out with a way to have a controller and a control profile that works just like the Xbox, you're trying to tell me that the results would have been pretty much the same, or they would have had a reasonable base? No, I tell you no. If PlayStation would have came out at the beginning of this generation, or even just a couple years in and said, look, we now have Xbox-like profiles and an Xbox-like controller. Test it out and put it out in GameStops all over the world, or all over the nation, or stores all over the world, and people test it out and they say, oh shit, this feels just like Xbox. You think they still would have been at 40 million? Hell no. I don't even think they'd have hit 20 million. They wouldn't have hit 20 million. Sam Walton says, man, if Sony came out with the gate with software to go along with this hardware, man, oh man. Both consoles are going to be about the same. It's going to be all about the games. Walter is correct. You're absolutely correct. MM2K and PlayStation, we only need PS Plus and third-party multiplayer games. All the first-party multiplayer games, the second-party, you don't need a PlayStation Plus for. 2 Shifty Marv, what is up? What's going on? Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Hey, if you like all my bibble babble, hit that like button. If you want to opine, subscribe. It's free of charge, baby. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got enough followers for members. It don't cost you a dime. You know what I'm saying? Pixel Big G also says, MM2K, the box profile, hilarious, man. Chilling. I'm still playing the State of Decay too, man. But I do keep the PlayStation 4 for the exclusives. I got you. I feel you. I feel you. I'm with you. Let's see here. We got Walter in here. We got a bunch, man. Live chat. I appreciate all of y'all. This went over an hour again. I'm going to change the name. Well, with that said, I appreciate it. Again, for those of you that are wondering what happened to my Ghost Recon impressions thing, I took that off the scene because I knew that this news would smother all that. With that being said, I urge you guys to definitely check it out when I release it later, because there's a lot of information. I'll just say this. I'm not as enthusiastic on some things as I was prior. 20 hours in, I'm now starting to see some things that I'm like, these are things that as they work on the game, they need to make better, definitely. And there's also, I'm going to release it on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at MM2K. There's a great comparison video that somebody did between Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, because there's a lot of people saying that Wildlands looks better than Breakpoint, and that's clearly been debunked. I'm going to let you know that right now. So somebody did a standby, and that's clearly been debunked. You know what I'm saying? And I talk a little bit too about the farce about the microtransactions. The microtransactions are not overwhelming. You can play this game without really, I'm gonna be honest with you. The microtransactions, Ubisoft did in a very porous way for themselves, because they're not even needed unless you want skins. You don't even need the microtransactions unless you want skins. Simply put. With that being said, thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all as always. Pause. I love y'all. No. I love y'all, man. Y'all make this so invigorating and so fun to hop up in the morning before I get into my daily grind, man. And I appreciate all of y'all, man. The support and the love that y'all giving. That's why I don't mind investing, into the ecosystem. We've upgraded our hardware to try to provide y'all better streams. I'm about to make some more investments and stuff like that. And when possible, things like the free messaging app that my Nightbot puts out there, y'all can do a huge favor. Just respond to there. Help goes a long way. I appreciate all of y'all. But no, I love y'all, man. Y'all like extended family that I'm gonna meet on USAsearch.com one day or something, man. So I appreciate all of y'all and all the back and forth. I don't want y'all to think that I take this personally. I love it. I engage. That's why I do shit like create a show called The Quick Dose, and the motherfucker be an hour and 55 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because I love the interaction, man. Straight up. With that said, y'all enjoy your gaming day, man. Enjoy this news. Keep you excited. Keep you invigorated. I think Z's gonna drop something around 6 o'clock. I think I'm gonna be available for that, just as long as the wife don't be on my back or not. And hey, enjoy, man. Enjoy. Peace.